headquarters of common sense.
Talk Radio.
You've written about this. Emily Thornberry got involved and said, well, I wouldn't go out with anyone who's not vaccinated because they're selfish. Well, thanks very much for your opinion, Emily, but I reject that. And the business of whether or not you've been vaccinated is now par for the course on these websites, the dating websites, isn't it? They want your vaccination status, which strikes me as extremely unromantic and kind of divisive. It's a move towards a divided society. I don't think these websites should be doing that, do you?
Well, here's the thing. They're responding, unfortunately, to a market and consumer demand. We now know that some 56% of Britons would be quite concerned about dating someone if they hadn't been vaccinated, with a significant chunk of those suggesting outright refusal. So, unfortunately, these apps, while I think they're wrong to include your medical status as part of your dating profile, they are responding to a ginormous consumer demand for that information. But you're right to say in your monologue there that this represents a rise in a divided society. The good news is that, according to the data we have on this, that Brexit now matters less when it comes to the dating game and finding love. Remainers and leavers are now more likely to agree to go on a date with each other. But that has been replaced with the politicisation of medicine, which is a severely bad situation to be in.
Indeed. And, I mean, this is hysteria, though, is it not? I mean, you're quite right, Charlie. You know, the former big divisive issue, were you a Remainer or a Leaver, which did get involved, it was a dating issue as well, has given way now to have you been vaccinated or have you not been vaccinated? And to those who say, well, if you haven't had the jab, I don't want to go out with you. It cannot be for medical reasons because what are they talking about? Omicron's not going to kill you. It'll just give you the sniffles for a couple of days. So what is the big deal here?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think the view that this is about health and medicine is completely incorrect. This is clearly a cultural or political situation, and you find that, as you said, like Lady Nuji would say in Labour, that this is an issue of selfishness. They think it reflects an issue of your character, and that it portrays you to be someone who prioritises themselves and thinks little of others. But as you rightly noted, people have very legitimate reasons for not being vaccinated, and you should not cast those all aside and outright refuse to meet, engage, discuss, and possibly even fall in love with them. I think this is a very sad way of limiting your options in life. I mean, personally, I've had 3 jabs, but and I had various good reasons for doing that. But I would never kick someone out of my life or refuse to meet someone if I thought that they were different to me in that way.
I suppose it might be quite a good method of chucking someone if you didn't like them very much. You just say, it's come to my attention that you haven't been vaccinated, so therefore I'm ejecting you from my life. But that notwithstanding, Emily Thornberry, this is a typical Labour kind of viewpoint. You know, big state, do what the state tells you. This is what your country requires of you. This is if you don't do it, you're being selfish and you should be thinking about the community. I don't think it's selfish to decide that you don't want to be vaccinated, do you?
No, I don't either. I think at the beginning of the pandemic, there was quite legitimate concern about how fast the virus would spread if you hadn't had the vaccine and all that kind of stuff. But I think what we know now is that the vaccine's most important effect is reducing the chances of severe disease. We're all going to get it at some point. You'd have to be a total recluse not to get it. And so the idea that by not getting it, you're being selfish, I think is way overblown. And people like Emily Thornberry and others who have been, I think in many cases, justifiably pushing a pro-vaccine message, when they feel as though that's not being successful enough, they revert, as always, to force, state pressure, state reliance on, if you don't do this, you can't have that, essentially. And I think it's very disturbing that they have to rely on extreme levels of pressure in your personal lives in order to achieve the outcomes they want in the government.
As I keep saying, what exactly this obsession with vaccinating, we've just heard that Scotland and Wales want to jab kids as young as 5. I mean, against what? To protect them from what? Omicron, which will give you the sniffles for 2 days. I don't quite understand it anymore. But I do think that this health drama we've just been through, Charlie, for the last couple of years, the COVID crisis, has turned us into a nation, and probably the whole world really, but this nation, we've become obsessed with vaccines. So this business of, I won't go out with you unless you've been vaccinated, you obviously assume we're referring there to the COVID jab, but does it go on? I mean, what about the MMR jab? What about the other vaccinations we have, polio, etc.? Are we now going to make vaccination the central topic of what we talk about when we form friendships or relationships?
Yeah, precisely that. And people are right to be very worried about this, because we've always had the politicization of love, romance and friendship. That people think that they can't meet someone or they can't engage with them if they think differently to them. I always get a bit confused when I meet fellow right-wingers who are upset that communist women don't want to go out with them, but you're not going to have a.
It's a lucky break, Charlie. It's a lucky break.
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, just stay away. You're better off without that. Yeah. But this rise of the politicization of medicine, of your medical issues being part of your potential as a lover or as a friend, that is way more nefarious, and that will have wide-reaching and very concerning effects.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Charlie. Well put. And also, I don't think politicians should get involved in this. Emily Thornberry and her acolytes are fanning the flames of a very pernicious syndrome, divisive. If you haven't been vaccinated, I don't want to know you. This is wrong, and it's going to have a very bad effect on our society. Great article in Mail Plus, Charlie, and excellent to speak to you. Thank you very much. Charlie Peters there, Mail Plus, a columnist.
Good talk.
Hot talk. Bold talk. Talk radio.
Listen on your smart speaker.
Watch it live on your smart TV.
The world headquarters of common sense.
Talk Radio.